I'm Holly Constant.
And I'm Maddie Hockaday. We really love Parks and Rec, and we really love behind-the-scenes details.
So we're researching everything from DVD extras like deleted scenes and commentaries,
plus interviewing cast and crew who actually worked on the show.
We also bring on guests and friends to geek out about everything parks.
So join us, you tropical fish.
This is literally the best Parks and Rec rewatch podcast.
We're your park pals.
There's a park and some pals, and there's also therapy too.
Okay, awesome. All right, guys, we are here for Road Trip. This is Insane, Season 3, Episode 14. We've been waiting for a while to get to this. Written by our guy, Harris Whittles, who we love. Reminder, created the Humble Brag Twitter. So just be aware of that anytime you use that word. And this was directed by Troy Miller, who we've also seen before. He wrote a bunch of them. Ron and Tammy, Telethon, a bunch others, and then also the movie Jack Frost, which I mention literally every time he directs an episode.
I know. And Sean's usually with us when we do
because of the Ron and Tammys.
Yeah. And did he also do the pageant, or am I crazy?
He did another one that wasn't a Ron and Tammy that he directed, but I don't think it was Beauty Pageant.
Okay.
It was a different one.
It was another one Sean was there for.
Yes.
That's what I know.
Yeah, that was really ironic that kept happening. Yes, for those of you who are new to the show, we usually have, not usually, we had quite a bit of like guest co-host, and Sean Trainer, who did our theme song for the podcast, came on and helped review as well. So we'll start having co-hosts again, maybe once I start, putting that in the schedule. But yeah, so.
It's nice to just do the two of us sometimes too.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so before we get to the summary, I wanted to do like a little bit of not a recap, but just like information, I guess. Wikipedia did say there was a little bit of drop in the viewership for this one, because remember how we said it was aired back to back with The Fight, and we had talked about that last week, or not last week, but last episode. So who knows if that's true, but it does suck for the people that stopped watching because they missed out seeing like a great scene and a great plot point.
You missed something that that's going to be important moving forward in the series. Yeah, I saw that we were at 5 million viewers for Eagleton the week before, and then at The Fight they were at like 4.5, and then they dropped to 3.5 for this one. And I don't know if people just didn't know Parks and Rec was staying on, but usually I feel like when things air live, when the credits start, don't they start the next episode almost?
I don't know. I'm not sure. But I will say I saw that 9:30 p.m. was the original air time. And so the other one started at 10 on a weeknight. Like, I don't know. That's not a great time slot for people to stay up if they have to work the next morning or have school or whatever. Mm-hmm.
Not for like a new episode. Like reruns, right. I feel like that late are cool because you can like fall asleep to them. But
yeah, right. Yeah. It still happens. I mean, there's still shows that come on at 10, but I don't know how well they're doing or if it matters anymore. But anyways, okay, something I do have to mention is that I've been waiting for this episode forever because Jessica St. Clair is in it. I mean, obviously the whole the whole episode is why I've been waiting. But Jessica St. Clair is the mom of Lauren Burkus' little girl, and it's like so exciting for me because I'm so obsessed with her and June Diane Raphael's podcast called The Deep Dive. And June Diane Raphael was on Grace and Frankie, but also she plays Tinnifer in the Eagleton merge. So for people that weren't familiar, but I highly recommend the deep dive. It's very similar / like in our same vein as far as like therapy and just like friendship and making sure that we're like checking in with what's happening in our lives kind of thing. And anyway, it's like not an ad at all, but I just thought it was like really cool to, see her super like mentally stimulating. They also talk about pickleball a lot if you're into that kind of thing. Like June Diane Raphael has a pickleball court in her backyard.
That's really cool. I've never played, but it sounds like a blast.
Yeah, it's like the fastest growing sport in the entire world right now. It's crazy.
Wow. Okay, yeah. I got to get into it.
Yeah.
It's cool.
I mean, yeah. I'm going to do just the quick breakdown of her character right now because I don't, I just want to do it now, and then we'll talk about the actual scene when we get there. But basically, she's an actress, writer, podcast host, producer, obviously all the things. She was in Bridesmaids, for those of you who don't know. She's out of My League, Wanderlust, and now she's in a show called Avenue 5 on HBO with Hugh Laurie, who was House. And I really like it. I've only watched the first 3 episodes. I believe there's 2 seasons right now. But basically, it's kind of what I wanted Space Force to be honest. It's very interesting because Avenue 5 is a spacey show. Basically, it's like a cruise ship, but it's in space. And it's not a spoiler because it's the literal first episode, but basically they get off track of their orbit and they are going to be stuck in space for 6 months to 3 years to who knows how long they were supposed to be in there. And it's really interesting, and I say it's what I wanted Space Force to be, but it's not. Space Force I think is more about military kind of fun, poking fun at that kind of government situation, but this is different. But Josh Gad is in it, and the guy who I can't remember the Star Trek name, but the Star Trek movies I'm pretty sure he was in. Maybe actually I don't know.
Zach. Is his name Zach?
Maybe that's not him, actually. You know the guy in The Office? It's not. Maybe, actually. The guy in The Office who did the ad for Dunder Mifflin, the white guy. So there was a white guy and an Asian guy. It's the white guy that's in Avenue 5. He looks so similar to the
Chris
Star
Pine
Trek guy, I feel.
Is that who you're thinking about? Yeah. Okay.
I guess it is. Okay, anyway, he's great. But so I'd highly recommend watching Avenue 5. But she also wrote her own show. Jessica St. Clair wrote her own show with Lennon Parham, who was also on Parks and Rec. Lennon was the one, for those of you who don't remember, in the first season that was if you don't come to this meeting, you don't love your kids. And then she's goes to the meeting and gets all wild. And then, but her and Lennon are BFFs, and they have a show that they produced together called Playing House. And there was one called Best Friends Forever, or BFF. And she told this hilarious story about it on her podcast. I'm not going to go into it because it's long, but she's also a UCB queen and everything. So when June Diane comes on, I will do a similar deep dive. I did message Jessica St. Clair because I know that she checks her Instagram messages and stuff. Especially if you're a fan of the podcast and you talk about it. So hopefully she'll message me back. But if she doesn't, I will message her through her agents, hopefully.
That'd be great. That's awesome. Yeah, and she does such a great job in this episode. So
yeah, she's awesome. But anyway, okay, so that's everything I have before the summary.
Perfect. Summary. Okay. Things are heating up in Indiana. Chris tasks Leslie and Ben to a road trip to Indianapolis to try and get the state Little League championship to be held in Pawnee. Being in close proximity makes it harder for Ben and Leslie to keep their feelings for each other hidden, and they're going to have to make a big decision. Meanwhile, with Leslie not in the office to hold down the fort, Tom decides to utilize the Parks and Rec staff to try out his new Know Yo Boo game, which creates trouble in paradise for April and Andy. And Ron teaches a little girl about the government.
Nice. Oh my gosh, I have so many thoughts on all the things.
Yes,
I was going to say all my thoughts right now, but we'll just get into it.
There's one more note, not that it super matters, but one more note that I had that I wrote underneath my summary with the viewership, that Parks and Rec was outperformed by The Mentalist and Private Practice, which and I don't know if I'm an outlier here. It kind of reminds me of how Steve Carell never won an Emmy, and I couldn't name any of the other shows that were happening at the same time. It's I probably wouldn't go back and watch The Mentalist or Private Practice, but everybody, I feel everybody, at least everybody who's listening to this, they're willing to go back and rewatch Parks and Rec. So I feel viewership isn't the end all be all.
It's definitely not. That has been proven time and time and again. People love their procedural shows, though. They just love them.
I can't even watch Grey's Anatomy.
Really? I thought you liked Law and Order, though, or CSI. Was it CSI?
Maybe it's CSI. No, yeah, I like Criminal Minds. I love Criminal Minds. Oh yeah, Criminal Minds is great. But it's anything that's and The Mentalist. I've been told I would like The Mentalist because it's kind of a psychology type idea. But the doctor shows I can't watch.
Oh, interesting. Is there a reason for it?
Blood.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yuckies.
Yeah. Grace, I feel like doesn't show it as much, but some of these like firefighter shows definitely show it. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. No, I walked into on my mom watching Grey's Anatomy once, and I just sat on the bed with her, and this guy's skull was like bashed in the back, and I was like, peace out. I can't.
Okay.
I had to
Bye,
leave.
thank you.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
but-
that's crazy.
Anyway,
Yeah, but
just
that's a
side
good
note.
point. I mean, definitely. I didn't really watch The Mentalist or any other shows that you mentioned. So Parks is winning anyway, so it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But no shade to them. I mean, I
No.
did have shade, but I didn't mean it. Okay. Anyway, all right, this cold open, love this so much. Ben and Leslie are basically flirting about government topics while Anne is sitting right there, but it's totally harmless technically because they're talking about government work. It's like this year over year cost analysis. Like, you're so welcome. I was thinking about you when I wrote it.
Because I asked to see it. I'm like, oh my gosh. Adam Scott, he looks so smitten.
I know.
You know, he acts it so well. Like you're like kind of like, are they actually in love? Because they
Totally.
like, they play it so well.
He loves talking to her and just being around her, and she loves it too. Their faces are so sensual. I laughed out loud, though, speaking of Adam Scott's acting. Like, I laughed out loud when Anne says, "Hi, Ben," and he turns around and gives her that look of like, "Oh, I didn't know you were here."
Hi, Anne. Yeah. Oh, it's great. Rashida in this scene too. This is just a top-notch scene to me because of the acting. Because
Yeah.
Rashida also is giving Leslie like some like
Totally.
little facial expressions while she and Ben are doing their cute little thing.
Yes,
So,
all three of
it's great.
them. Oh,
Yeah.
it's so good. I really want Leslie's jacket. I want her Parks and
the
Rec
Parks and Rec
jacket.
jacket. I thought that was cute.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen her wear it before, but I don't know why this time I was just like, I want that. So maybe I'll have to see if they sell any.
Yeah. No, it looks comfy. I'm sure so you can buy one somewhere.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, for sure. Well, Anne says that they need to avoid this one-on-one tensiony conversation moments, so they can like keep it together. And then we cut to Chris saying that he's sending Ben and Leslie on this trip together alone.
Yeah. Which I thought Anne's advice was very sound because she's like pro Leslie and Ben, but you know, Leslie is like, I can't because of my job. And so she's like, okay, this is how you solve it.
Yeah.
And of course, Christopher has to
It's
have
just
his
like-
dynamic duo.
Yeah, I think it's like, I don't know. Anne's advice is so like weird for me because like there's no way you can avoid it. Like I see what she's saying, but there's like we just saw that even talking about government, there's no way they're gonna
Yeah.
like stop being tensiony.
I think
But
it was
I
more
see
the
what you're saying.
one-on-one thing, right? Is like having another
Yeah.
person there.
I guess that's fair. But again, we see that like Anne's there and it doesn't matter.
No, I know, but at least they're not going to kiss in front of Anne. Is what I'm
Oh, I guess
like.
that's
What I
true.
think
It's
the
not gonna
point
be, like,
is. They're not
sexual.
going to. Yeah, they're not going to like cross the physical boundary. Like they crossed the
Okay.
emotional boundary so long ago.
Yeah,
I
that's
think it's
true.
the physical.
Which is proven at the end.
Correct.
Okay, got it. Because Chris isn't there. Oh, okay,
Yes.
okay. This helps.
Yeah. I also like before we move into the next scene. I love the Benjamin Leslieman.
Oh my gosh, yes, that's a
so
great
cute.
line. Leslie Mann. Oh, so good. So we learned that, like you said in your summary, that this trip is about having the Indiana Little League Games hopefully being hosted in Pawnee, because it hasn't been hosted there in forever. So he's sending them to persuade them, this crew or this like board or whatever, to make a presentation on why it should be in Pawnee. I thought Adam Scott did such a great job in this. Like, I really feel like we haven't done VIP in a really long time. Very important, or VIPP rather.
Oh, yeah.
In a very long time. But I really feel like Adam Scott's up there with this one because he has a lot of subtle looks to both Leslie and the camera. It's not because like most of the time it's just to camera, but I feel like in this episode he had so many great moments of just looking at Leslie and being like, oh God, what are we gonna do? You know what I mean? It was really subtle and not like over the top, which was, you know, very realistic and lifelike.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm totally on board with him being a very important park pal.
Yes, VIPP. Chris says that they're the dynamic duo and is trying to get them to fist bump, and it's like super awkward.
Yeah,
Hated it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is another little moment for me where Chris is just forcing shit to happen, and I'm like,
I know, so oblivious to everything.
he really is. His heart's in the right place.
I know. Okay, now I'm at Leslie's house if you are.
Yes.
Okay.
And I love that they're going through their closet together again.
I know. Well, my thing is what's so weird, what I wrote down, to be honest, is like, why is Leslie going to Anne's house to get something unsexy?
Thank you. I literally, I could send you my notes right now. I'm so sorry. I just hit my mic while I was talking. Because I got too excited. I have the same note. I said interesting because I would put Leslie's clothes as less sexy.
Literally. I was like, she could literally wear what she's wearing right now and that would be less sexy than anything in Anne's house.
Well, and did you see the amount of high-heeled shoes they had out? Like,
I did.
Are you trying to take him to bed?
Oh my Lanta, scandalous. Well, and this like pretty woman dress was freaking hilarious.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
She has that.
I wonder if it was for Halloween. I wonder.
Oh, maybe.
Because I can't picture Anne being like, I'm going to go out on the town and having her like belly like completely exposed like that.
I know. Yeah. I thought it was really funny too, like or not funny. Well, I guess funny too. I think it was really cool and cohesive because they had her wearing something kind of like not revealing but kind of like, you know, sexy as well.
A little sexier than what she usually wears because you can see her bra through the shirt. Yeah,
it's like that sheer kind of shirt with the black bra underneath. I was like, okay, and work. But also Leslie, if that's what she wears, just like hanging out with you, then and also she's going on.
I don't think you're gonna find what you need.
Yeah, so I just thought that was really funny. I do love Anne's confidence though when she's like, I look really good in it. Like it's really nice to see that. Yeah,
I agree with that 100%. And I had this little moment because Leslie says, I need a sweatsuit or something. And I thought of the swoot from New Girl.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh my gosh. I don't know New Girl well enough to like remember things like that or quote it. But now that you say it, that was a Schmidt thing, right? Or no?
Schmidt and Nick invented it. And they took it to the lady who's in Shark Tank. One of the ladies.
Oh, that's right. Tank. Oh my God.
Sorry, but that's what I thought of.
For? Suit
the sweatsuit.
Sweatsuit.
That's literally what Leslie says. Which is why I was like, the swoot. She could wear the swoot.
Well, JJ Philbin is married to Mike Schur, and JJ Philbin is very a writer for New Girl, so they could have had a little, pillow talk,
little
about
moment, yeah, it's true. Although I think the New Girl episode came after this, but this could have birthed the invention. Are we connecting worlds? Maybe we are. Who knows? I love it.
But so now she needs unsexy, boring topics. So I thought these were so funny, like History of the Ladder, Dorms at Johns Hopkins University, or the Sonicare booklet that she could read from. These are so random.
They're so random. And the other note I had with them was, not only are these unsexy topics, but they're also very clearly you trying to not talk about other shit. Because who wants to learn about the history of the ladder?
That's true.
I mean, for funsies, I don't know. These are like, why? And then Anne has one of my favorite lines. I had like two that I'm struggling to choose between, but I love her. I have a good idea. Why don't you ask him about his penis?
I love that so much. There is a blooper that I recorded for us because they laughed a lot during that one.
How can you not?
How can you not? And so I just I was going to combine all the bloopers that I found from this episode into one, but then I was like, you know what? Let me just go ahead and just do it one by one. So let me share this with you.
What about his penis? Should I talk to him about it?
Yeah.
I should talk to him about something he's interested in.
Right, like his penis.
I know.
I just think it's so cute to hear them laugh together.
Yeah, I know. And to kind of work around with the verbiage of it, right?
Yes.
Like it's not the same every time.
Exactly. That was something that they had a lot of freedom to just kind of try on. So they didn't have to cut every time. Yeah. So that was very precious. I know it's really short, but I thought it was cute.
Yes, I'm glad you shared it. It was worth it.
And I like that. I don't know. I don't really have a ton of favorite lines. So, I'll think of one as we go. But I mean, not saying that I don't have favorite lines. It's just there was a lot of stuff going on. There was really huge B stories and really huge I don't know. I feel like everything was really important in this one. So anyway, back at the office, Chris is playing around on Chris Pratt is playing around on April's office phone, which really took me back to that episode where April asks Andy to listen to the phone while she goes to the bathroom because everyone else is hunting and they weren't even dating yet. It just gave me so many like good memories and good vibes.
Yeah,
you know what I
cute.
mean?
I wonder if you know if this was improvised, his Pawnee Zoo monkey speaking, or if that was written.
I don't know. It didn't say.
It could definitely be, like, I can see it being a Chris Pratt original.
Yeah.
But I could see it being written too.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't find anything in my research on that one.
Yeah.
But did you notice there's a folder on April's desk that looks legit with like a business card paper clipped on it and it says OMFG on it?
The folder does? Or there's like a Post-it?
No, the big folder is literally typed out saying OMFG. I'll take a picture and post it. But I was like,
oh my gosh.
Well, how did that make it in?
That's crazy.
Unless I'm like, I don't know. Unless I'm like reading it wrong. But no, that's a thing. So I highlighted it so that I can post it. But anyway, Tom asks everyone to follow him and says there's no boss today because Leslie is gone. And I love when Ross, Ron, Ross, Friends, been watching a lot of Friends. Love when Ron makes this comment that he's the boss, but then he shrugs at the end like, yeah, you're right, I'm not really.
Yeah. I mean, it's fair.
Right. Oh my gosh.
And he's playing darts anyway. Like, he has darts in his hand. He's not,
Yeah.
He's not here for it today.
But Tom is doing this game show, like you said in the summary. He's not calling it Newlyweds. He's calling it Know Ya Boo. I love that so much.
I did too. I thought that was really good.
It's such a good character thing. He always uses the word boo. It's so fun.
Oh yeah. It's very Tom. I want to know who he talked to and what reason he gave to the room schedulers that gave him the press conference room.
Oh yeah, interesting.
Because this is the press conference room where Leslie gets her boob touched.
Yeah.
And it's where they often hold like meetings with the city manager and like all the department heads. So I'm like, because they have the conference room, they could have done it in there. But he was like, no, we got to go grander. And I doubt anybody gave him permission to use that room for Know Ya Boo.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. Or I mean, he could have like put it under some other like guise of another meeting, but like it could just be I don't know. In my head, it's just empty, and he just goes in there, like you said. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know how that works. I mean, where I work now, you have to schedule rooms, so that's why I think my head was like, thinking that through.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Tom doesn't care.
Yeah.
His comment about everyone stealing everything is like so true. I feel as far as like everything is just influenced by another thing. However, I will say the first part of his sentence, love can't buy a thing, being based on Can't Buy Me Love is true, but the Kramer versus Kramer and Shakespeare thing is wrong.
Correct. Kramer versus Kramer is a legal drama. So it has absolutely nothing to do with the rom-com Can't Buy Me Love.
Did you know that, because I thought about this when he said that 10 Things I Hate About You is based on the Shakespeare play, Taming of the Shrew?
Yeah.
Which is so crazy. I think there's a lot of Shakespearean plays that are adapted into like modern times, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think that it again lends its hand to what Tom's saying. I mean, Connor was telling me, my brother, he was telling me something like there's only 2 or 3 movies coming out this year that aren't a sequel or derived off of a book or something else like that.
Yeah.
Or history. And I mean, like Oppenheimer, he said Oppenheimer is one of the ones that isn't a sequel or it's a new Chris Nolan one, but it's historical. So it's like even the movies that are being made that are like new are still like off of something that's already happened, which I'm totally fine with because I love the historical stuff, but it is really hard to find like new ideas now.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So
yeah. Yep. And all like musicals being based on books or TV shows or whatever. Not all of them, but a lot of them. Yeah. Did you know that Top Gun was nominated for Best Picture for the Oscars?
New one?
Yes.
Oh, gosh.
I was like, oh, God, that's like some Scientology shit, but okay. Yeah. But I watched some behind the scenes of him doing his stunts, and I can respect that. It is really insane, like his stunts, that he does all of them. But I was like,
I have respect for his craft.
Sure. Yeah.
There
anyway.
it is. Yeah.
Okay, so oh my gosh, I like this too. You might have noticed it, but April has like a Stanley line, the shove it up your butt.
I wrote the same thing. I literally say, shove it up your butt, #Stanley.
Yes, that is so funny. Maybe that was like really popular at the time. I have no idea.
Oh, could have been. Yeah, I have no idea. There's little trends like, I know you are, but what am I? Like that come,
Right.
That come around.
Exactly.
So,
But basically, Tom is testing out. I like that he says, "I'm testing this game out on you four bing bongs." I want to say
was
bing
like,
bongs.
excuse me, sir.
I know, right?
First of all, everyone's facial expressions. Love it. Like, Donna's like, you really calling us bing bongs right now? And
Especially
Jerry's
when we're
rolling
trying
his
to, like,
eyes.
help you.
Yeah. And Jerry's rolling his eyes looking at Donna. And
Yeah.
and Andy has no idea what's going on.
Yes.
And that's super rude. And then he says, and then I'm going to do it later better with more
With, like,
attractive
more
people. I'm like, these people don't have to be here.
I know.
Like, what are you doing?
Yep. But for whatever reason, they're staying. They're so crazy. But yes, it's so funny to see Tom do that. I love all the different TV networks, especially Slurp,
Yeah.
Slurp Latin, Slurp HD, Ultimate Battle Smoothie. That
Yes.
was so funny to me.
And I feel like, even though it's not real, none of those are real.
Right.
I feel like even if they are real in the Parks and Rec world, they're only real in Pawnee. I feel like they're Pawnee
see that.
networks in my
Yes.
brain.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like that Tom is like, that's a dope show. I just think it's really funny.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so good. It's a little bonding moment between Tom and Andy.
Yeah. Everyone can bond over TV shows, I feel.
No, this is true. Yeah.
You know? So now we're in the car with Leslie and Ben, if you are.
Yes.
Okay. And Leslie's talking about the dorms, as she said she would. And I love Ben's line of like, "Oh, did you go to Johns Hopkins?" She's like, "No." She doesn't even explain it. She just says,
yeah. Why? Like, girl.
I know.
And I like what can be so amazing about the Johns Hopkins dorms
Yeah.
that makes it more special than any other school. I think she went to Indiana University.
In the show? I think you're right.
I thought, because
you're right.
I feel like she does a speech there later.
Yeah, I think that you're right.
So, yeah, why not talk about theirs? I don't know. I think that she just, I don't know, man. It was really funny. I was listening to the Parks and Recollection podcast as well, and they were like, they didn't have an answer as to like why they brought up Johns Hopkins. Like, because like, I don't know if anyone even went there. It was just like an idea. Yeah, and that was my other question, was like, I wonder if anybody went there, but I know
No,
that
'cause-
like Mike Schur didn't go there and Greg Daniels didn't go there. And
Right. Most of the writers in that room were Harvard people. And
Yeah.
so it's just like, I don't know. I guess the idea was just to be as random as humanly possible.
yeah, which
and
is
not
fair.
like talk about, I don't know, I'm reading way too deep into it, but like not talk about your own experiences, because then you might bond over something personal. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah. No, you know what?
But-
that's fair. I really like that theology. Like, I'm not going to bring up something that's close to me because
Yeah.
yeah.
Because then we might get closer and deeper.
Well, and we see what happens with that later. So
Yes,
fair.
exactly. Also, I was going to ask you really quickly, didn't we discover that Pawnee was only like an hour and a half from Indianapolis?
I don't know if we ever technically discovered. I think we did the math in our head and we were like, it's only like an hour and a half, 2 hours away.
Yeah, because there was somewhere
Yeah.
else when they went to Indianapolis, and it just wasn't that long. So I thought it was funny that they were calling it a road trip. However, I have taken road trips, not road trips. I have taken like car rides that are an hour long with people that I don't necessarily like know that well, and I guess it does technically get long, depending on, you know, if you have a tensiony moment, you know what I mean, which
Yeah.
is kind of what's going on here. But when they
Yeah,
said
it
road
feels
trip,
longer.
yeah, I was expecting it to be like at least 3 hours, but I think
No,
it's
yeah.
only like an hour or so.
Yeah, it's not that long. I think it's the fact of the matter that they're going to a city together that
By
it's like-
themselves in a car
by
where they can't
themselves.
escape.
Yeah, you were stuck in a car for 3 hours with my husband.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's not what I was talking about.
I know, but it made me think of it because you
That's
guys
true.
knew each other, but you weren't like, you didn't
Yeah.
talk all the time, you know?
Right.
So
Yeah, it
it's
does
funny.
depend on the person for sure. Because like if you can make conversation / I think it depends on two things. One, if you can make conversation, and two, if you're cool with silence. Which like
Yeah,
lately I've been very cool with that. I don't know what's happening.
I'm about it.
But
No.
I'm just like, That's fine. We don't have to talk. I used to be so different. I was like, we have to fill every single second with something.
Yeah.
But
I think
yeah,
our
it was
brains
really
are just
nice.
getting tired, and it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know?
and I'm just like, I don't know. I just feel like that stemmed from me wanting everyone to like me, and now I don't care.
Well,
You
and
know?
that's funny because I was literally just going to say, I think when we can sit in silence, there's a comfort level there of, I'm happy with just being in my own thoughts. Like I don't need to be vibing off someone.
Right.
So I don't know. It's so now that we're thinking about this, because the road trip aspect, sometimes there's trainings down in Phoenix. And I've never been like, oh, I want to see if one of my coworkers will road trip with me. Not that I don't like them,
Yeah.
but it's like an hour and a half.
Yes.
And it's like, I don't want to be entertaining you the whole time.
I know. And also, I mean, I guess we're like totally just going off the deep end with this tangent, but at the same time also, like, my mom and I talk about this all the time, like when we are asked to ride with people. It's just like sometimes it's nice to just have your own like way to leave, your own way to get there. You don't have to depend on anyone else. It's just like you might have something before or after, or maybe you just want to be by yourself. Like, it's nice to just be in control of that, you know?
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
the point is, this is so not what Ben and Leslie's situation is. However,
Correct.
if they could have ridden separately, maybe they should have. Why didn't
Yeah.
they suggest that?
Oh, I wonder if this is a company car.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry,
you're
tangent.
right. No, you're right. But anyway, the point is that being in a car together with this tension / whatever nervousness is sucky if it's like over 30 minutes. So
Yeah.
that's that. And Ben suggests music, and Leslie says her and Anne burned an awesome CD for the trip. And before we talk about the things on the CD, I had such a flashback of burning CDs for people in high school or asking to have a CD burned for me. I used to make playlists all the time because Spotify wasn't like an actual thing. You couldn't make playlists, and it was so fun for me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I used to make playlists on iTunes, and then you could burn it on the disc from iTunes.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
that's exactly what I'm talking about. And
Yep.
and she has her MacBook open, and she has that huge stack of blank CDs and blank CD covers or whatever.
Yeah.
And it just was such a old tech, I
Throwback.
guess. Yeah, which is crazy. I remember when the Paramore, one of the Paramore albums came out in high school, and my one friend had the record, and like everybody was asking her to burn it for everyone else, and I was like, that must have been annoying, but it was just funny. And I would like make mixtapes for friends or whatever. It was just funny.
Yeah. No, it's
And
cool.
you come up with like fun names for them. So
Oh, yeah.
that was a cool little moment, a little
Yeah.
memory lane moment. But
Love it.
the things on the list are, one of the first things is Jimmy Carter's Crisis of Confidence speech. I did a whole deep dive on this.
Good for you. Because once I found out that it was a speech on the nation's energy crisis, I was like, that's all I need to know. It was Jimmy Carter, right?
Yes, Jimmy Carter. Because I was like, what is this crisis that you're speaking of? I understand that it's the energy thing, but what is crisis of confidence? What are you talking about here? And it's just fascinating. I was talking with my friend about this the other day because we were talking about Germany and how I just learned so many historical things. And it's just really fascinating to me that when we're actually learning these things and it's supposed to be like getting graded on it and everything, you're so not interested. But as you get older, it's so fascinating to learn like where we've been and what all the historical significance is. Significant. I wanted to say like the plural version of that.
Significancies?
Yeah, sure.
whatever it is.
Significance of like all of these incredible moments in history. So basically, I read the whole speech. I'm just going to give you like a Cliff's Notes little moment. Basically, he went to Camp David, which is really funny because that comes back as well for Andy saying Camp David later. In this series. But anyway, he went to Camp David to talk about this with American citizens. And his whole goal was to talk to the regular people of America, not just politicians. And this side note, this speech was on July 15th, 1979.
Okay.
you are right. It was about the energy crisis. It was a really powerful speech, I feel. He goes on to give 6 points about how you can, as a nation, preserve energy, and how he's going to mobilize the government to save and make sure that we're getting our oil from here and not from the Middle East. Because a lot of it's also about joining together for the common good and making sure our poorest citizens are also taken care of, because at this point the inflation prices were insane, much like they are now, like with gas and everything. And I just thought it was very Leslie Knope, because it was very which, you know, obviously that's why it's probably in here, but he promises, like, he keeps saying it's not going to be easy, but we can't keep taking the short term answer. We have to, you know, do the hard shit, and we can't just band-aid it. So I just thought it was really interesting. And I also, the crisis of confidence thing. This is where I looked it up. I'm just going to, will you like hate me if I read you like a section of the speech?
Yes, Holly. I will hate you if I have to listen. No, of course.
Okay, you guys, if you need to skip ahead 15 seconds, that's fine.
I just want to clarify. So he did this speech at Camp David. It wasn't like a public service announcement.
No, it was. He went. He went to Camp David first to talk to people, and then he came back with the information that he received at Camp David and made this public service announcement.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so little section from this speech. So I want to speak to you first tonight about a subject even more serious than energy or inflation. I want to talk to you right now about a fundamental threat to American democracy. Not our political and civil liberties, they will endure, and I do not refer to the outward strength of America, a nation that is at peace tonight everywhere in the world with unmatched economic power and military might. The threat is nearly invisible in ordinary ways. It is a crisis of confidence. It is a crisis that strikes at the very heart and soul and spirit of our national will. We can see the crisis in the growing doubt about the meaning of our own lives and the loss of a unity of purpose of our nation. The erosion of our confidence in the future is threatening to destroy the social and political fabric of America. So that is where the crisis of confidence part comes in. Basically, people were losing hope that America had any faith in our nation or in our government, because I mean, it's still happening now. And this was more of like a rally to the troops, but like where everybody thought like DC / politicians are like a separate island from like the actual real people of America that are having to pay the prices of all these things. So he really wanted it to be combined. And I did appreciate that he has 6 points about how they can preserve energy and like actually make this work, and the money that he was going to do or like fund with. It
came with a plan.
Yeah. Instead of just saying whatever, you know, but I thought that I had no idea that like that. I thought I don't know why. I just had no idea that that's what the crisis was like, we're losing confidence in America. And that's what the whole speech was. Yeah, and to people that, and to people that like maybe know more about history, this is probably like annoying or whatever, but I didn't know. So I'm learning a lot.
Yes.
So it's interesting. Learning. It's not sexy. That's for sure is the point.
No, it's definitely not sexy. No.
So
to have to listen to that. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
That's funny.
So that's that. The next thing is learning to speak Mandarin. And I was wondering if you had caught any of the words or if you remembered anything.
Yeah, I have it written down later.
Oh, okay.
Because and I wrote it in Mandarin in my.
Oh, okay. Because Alan Yang was saying that like there's some weird because he's trying to learn Mandarin as well, and he was saying there's some like different like pronunciations and vocabulary words. But the other thing was 16 minutes of old timey car horn and banjo boogie bonanza.
I just the 16-minute car horn thing.
I know.
That's a really long time. And some people have that set as their alarms. That's triggering.
That's true. Oh my gosh. That's so interesting you said that. Recently, I've changed my alarms to like something more soft and gentle. Oh my gosh, I can't even handle how different it is to wake up.
You like
to
it better?
I like it so much better because I feel like someone's like screaming at me and I'm just like, shut the fuck up. Yeah. And now when I'm like woken up with something, it's because Brooklyn, my sister, she's the one that had that. I like heard something and it was like so nice and sweet. And I was like, I would wake up to that instead. It just starts your day off way more. Well, for me anyway, it starts your day off way better than like someone screaming at you.
And you don't feel like you have trouble waking up with it?
No, because I still hear it.
Okay.
Yeah, I still hear it. I clicked snooze regardless of what the sound was, but now it's like it's a little bit more of an easing into it, like where I'm, as opposed to like, wake up now. And I'm just like, ugh, stop yelling at me.
Yeah, that's how I feel with my alarm.
But some people need that. Some people really need you to like be scared and you're like, oh God, I gotta get up immediately. Yeah. I just feel like it starts your day off like with your nervous system all in a jumble.
That's very true. Yeah, I can see that. I'm gonna have to try the soft. I just never felt like I was gonna be able to, because sometimes I sleep really hard, especially like if I'm struggling with insomnia and I don't fall asleep till like 3 or 4 in the morning. Like I'm pretty dead to the world when my alarm goes off. So it's I'll have to try it.
I definitely recommend experimenting with it because there are some that are like in the middle. They're not quite the car horn thing, but they're not quite like, chimes. It's like somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. Nice little balance. I also, with the car horn thing, the other thing I had is that could be so dangerous.
Oh, yeah, that's
like when you're driving and it just all of a sudden,
yeah.
I would freak out while I was driving.
That's true. Just like when songs have sirens in it, that should be illegal.
Yeah, I hate that. Yeah.
I love Ben's line of the banjo thing. Like, I didn't realize it could be this loud.
So loud. Yeah. It's not my favorite instrument. It's not my least favorite instrument.
Yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky. Because it can be used in so many different ways,
You know when I love it is Alison Krauss's album that she did with Robert Plant.
Oh, okay. I'll have to listen to that.
There's some, oh my gosh. Yeah, if you haven't, oh gosh. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I just feel like it's one of those, just like many country instruments, but I guess instruments in general, like it reminds me of like the pedal steel, like they can be used in so many different ways. Like those are primarily what you would think of as bluegrass instruments, but they can be used in a lot of like other genres that make them sound like way cooler in my head.
Yeah. Mumford and Sons uses a banjo. And it sounds great.
And the banjo is fucking hard, bro.
It is,
that's a hard instrument to me, I think, because it's all about picking.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
So if you're like a finger picker on the guitar, it's probably more attainable.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think of Andy from The Office.
Yeah.
Or Ed Helms just in general.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm back at the office if you are.
Yeah. Yes, and it's empty.
Yes, there's this little girl that comes in because she's on a school trip and she has to interview someone. I don't understand like why she's walking in by herself. Did they just let her go? Let all the students just be by themselves? Because I feel like I didn't see a teacher.
Well, because in the back, when you can see behind her, there's people walking, like a group of people. So I think they kind of just said, like, pick an office. Like, City Hall knows we're coming today. Pick an office, and I'll come check in on everybody. But, like,
okay.
Maybe she was just watching everybody walk in. I'm concerned about this trip, but that was the rational piece in my head. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's a good way to phrase it. Is like City Hall knows, but obviously Ron wouldn't know because he doesn't listen. So
he doesn't read the memos.
Fair. Yeah.
And April didn't take the phone call.
Right. Okay. That's helpful. Now we're doing the game show. It's time to know ya boo. It's time to know ya boo. Also, oh my God, there was a little bit of not a deleted scene, but just like I think some alts here, and I wanted to play it for you really fast.
Yes.
I don't have the instrumental backing track yet, but it's to say boo right there. It's time to know ya. What's that? I said we're doing it tonight. Asking the questions, seeing the answers. It's time. No. Boo, boo, boo. It's time to know your boo.
That was weird.
That was weird.
Oh, I love it. That's so great.
I just thought that was so funny because it's like he is so good at creating those little stings. I feel
the very beginning sounded the most game showy to me. The very first little tag.
Yeah. And I also love that long mic that he has. Like I can imagine him ripping that off like the podium or something and using that like as a prop. Oh my God.
Yeah. 100%.
And the CGI puppy co-host, Bobby the Boo. I love that so
Bobby
much.
the Boo.
That might be one of my favorite lines. I don't know. I don't know.
Bobby the Boo. Oh my gosh. I love that Jerry and Donna are matched up here. I think it also is like a really nice nod to in the beginning of the series, they weren't considered regulars, right?
Yes.
And
So
so they weren't on the screen a lot. So we can assume they were like working together or, so it's cute. I like this little relationship, even though it kind of tears Andy and April apart a little bit.
I know. It's so crazy. Yeah, that's a really good point that they like weren't technically regulars. But yeah, Jerry and Donna are crushing it and April and Andy are struggling. It does kind of suck that Andy like is so self-centered, I guess, at this moment that he doesn't even self-centered, I guess isn't the right word, but it is kind of at the end of the day what's happening. Like he doesn't even remember April talking about Neutral Milk Hotel like 100 times. And I don't know. I was kind of on April's side weirdly in this moment.
I 100%. I agree with you. I'm a little torn. I think we're being childish, both of us, in this moment, because there is a better way. I feel like April could have handled everything, but at the same time, I agree with her. Like, yes, your boyfriend has a band, but he's a Pawnee band. Like, I as much as if if Ivan was in a band, he would still respect the fact that I would, I would want to listen to Jack White or whatever,
Right.
Like, yeah, it's like, it's okay. It's also okay that you like other people other than Mouse Rat. Like, you don't have to solely listen to Mouse Rat to be a supportive wife. And that's kind of what it feels like. I did feel like she didn't necessarily have to say, you're not technically a rock star.
Yeah, that part was rough.
Like, it could have been cool if it was like, well, I get to sleep with you all the time. I wanted to like branch out.
Yeah. But yeah, totally. I mean, at that point, it's just like, if I've told you 100 times to like listen to them or like, and you don't know the name of the person that I have mentioned 1,000 times when I go to all of your fucking shows and you practice at our house and all that stuff, like, that's really annoying to me. But I do hear that about like not saying, like, well, you're not
the wording,
technically a rock star. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I agree with you because especially for April, there's so much underneath her surface that I feel like we don't even ever realize. Yeah. And this is the person who's supposed to want to know all that beneath the surface stuff. And I don't know about you, but like if I tell you different parts in my life, what music I was listening to, I feel like it's really telling. Yeah. And so I think she, in a way, she's trying to share herself with him without having to be so explicit about what's going on. And him disregarding that is upsetting for her. Like to some people who listen to this probably are like, it's just her favorite band. Like, but I think it's more than that to April.
Yeah. Well, and also, I mean, it'd be one thing if they had like talked about it and they had come to this like, not that everything has to be a huge conclusion, but if like you've accepted, okay, he just doesn't like that band. That's fine. He doesn't get it, whatever. But at least like that, like Andy should be remembering what it was. You know?
Exactly.
But Andy's also kind of like just aloof in that sense. So yeah,
he's
that kind of
golden
sucks.
retriever.
Yeah. Apparently Neutral Milk Hotel was kind of popular among the writers, so that's why they put it in there. Mike Schur, Aziz, and Alan Yang went and saw them like a couple times together. Okay. So
I had to look up if they were real because I have not heard of them before. So yes, that's what I found, that they're from Louisiana. They're a real band. 1989 to 1998 is when they were pretty popular, and then they were not present or whatever. You know how Wikipedia does that, like inactive, or they were inactive, I guess. Right. And then they came back 2013 to 2015. Okay. So
got it. Yeah, I remember hearing about them in high school and stuff, but I wasn't like a huge listener. But yeah, I mean, I definitely could see April listening to it, like the Smiths or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, so now we're back at the parks office where Ron is telling this little girl that it's unsettling having her in the office. And
Sorry, I have this note here because I'm like, why? She says, my report is due tomorrow. What is the planning of this teacher?
Oh.
Like that you're bringing the kid. Now, I'm assuming they did some sort of government research beforehand, right? So they know a little bit what they're going to write. But like, even in fourth grade, I'm like, you're going to give them an essay to take home at the end of the day to write for tomorrow?
Yeah.
Like, sorry, I just was like,
Interesting. I didn't
upset
even think about that. Okay, yeah.
the
I was just
timing.
like, they're just going to write a couple sentences.
I don't know.
But-
Fourth grade, even an essay in fourth grade, I feel like was 2 pages written at least.
Yeah.
So it's like,
interesting.
I was like, I don't know if I.
Well, she only had 1 page technically.
Yeah.
It was a long page, but yeah.
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 Yeah. So I don't know, but
Interesting for
that's
sure.
I was just like, it's due tomorrow. Like, that's what it was for me. It was like, also like, what if the kid was sick and couldn't come to the cinema? I don't
That's
know.
true.
I don't know why my brain does
It got
this.
deep. Well, you were
Yeah.
a teacher, so you were thinking about it from your perspective.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
never
I
would have
mean-
given a day.
Having more time, I suppose, would have been helpful.
Yeah.
But Ron is
well.
saying, like, asking what her report is on, and it's why government matters. And so Ron sees this as an opportunity to, like, talk about his beliefs. That line of government being a greedy little piglet that sucks on a taxpayer's teat until they have sore, chapped nipples. Woof, that was descriptive.
Yes. And I love the line, I'm going to need a different metaphor to teach this 10-year-old.
Right.
I like the self-awareness
That's what I was going to say.
because sometimes we don't have it here with Ron,
Yes.
but he was
totally.
aware enough to not say that.
Yeah,
So
100%.
kudos to him.
Yes. It does remind me of Leslie's line later in the series when she's like, oh, your metaphors are so poetic. And it's something very, like, awful and descriptive like this.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
So, by the way, this gal's name, Lauren Burkus, in real life, she was played by Alyssa Schaefer. She has been in Happy Feet, Just Like Heaven, Daddy Daycare, a bunch of other stuff as a kid. I didn't see anything on IMDb past 2011, which is when this came out. So I'm not sure if she's still acting, but she was born in 1998. So she's 24 now.
Yeah.
So it's kind of crazy to think about the passage of time in that sense. But great job to Alyssa. She did wonderful.
Yeah.
So Ron says he's going to teach her everything she needs to know about government. And she says, you have mustard in your mustache. And I love that. Don't sass me, Burkus.
Yes.
Love that.
Yeah, it's great. Then we got the life, liberty, and property. John Locke.
Yes. I was confused by this. Did you look him up?
I did. Yeah, he was a fixture in politics in like the 1600s into
Yeah.
the early 1700s. So he was around for like, we weren't a country yet.
Right. Well, I was
but that was
confused because one of his like things that I found in my research was showing that he's the father of liberalism, and I was like, intriguing. But maybe liberalism meant something different than it does now, because it said that he was an English philosopher and he was the first one to say that a government should be beholden to the people rather than vice versa. So that definitely tracks. Like, he became one of the first people to suggest that if like a people disapprove of their government, then they should, possess the power to change it and, do what they need to do as they see fit. So, and that like idea apparently came to be known as what's called the right to revolution. So I could totally see that part, definitely. So I was just confused by the liberalism part. But again, we used to have, in Hamilton even, it was like, what is it? Democratic Republicans, like, and so like everything with the terms I feel change throughout history. So
Yeah,
who knows?
I think it's it's molded. It's changed with the times. I think even now, we're in this time where most people are pretty logical, and the loudest are the ones that are, So I think we just kind of have over the years. It's just kind of shifted
just
with the
changed.
times. So yeah,
But the point is that he said, that he believes what Ron believes, where like the people should be in charge, essentially.
yeah.
So that's how he's explaining taxes. Not yet, but that is what John Locke
Yes.
is from. So now Leslie and Ben are listening to whale sounds, if you are there.
Yeah. Why? I just can't.
I know. It's so funny. Then Ben changes it, and Let's Stay Together by Al Green comes on, and Leslie's like, what the hell? Oh my God. It's
Sue me. I want them to get together.
I know. Yeah,
love
we cut
that.
to Anne saying she snuck that song in there. I feel like we would totally do that for sure.
Oh yeah. Oh, 100%. There would have been more than just one song.
Yeah.
It would have been like, yeah, I'll put the whale sounds in there, but like, here's like 5 romantic songs you can listen to.
Right.
Which honestly, it's for the best, because this is like the first non-awkward conversation they've had in this entire car ride.
Yeah.
And they're getting to be themselves. And just the shitty thing of it is when they're themselves, they're really attracted to one another. There's this like honest chemistry between them. And I know that's what Leslie was avoiding, but I don't even think it's like this romantic song that did it. It was a song that put them at ease,
Exactly. That's
and
true.
wasn't weird.
Yeah,
know.
totally.
So
Ugh, love that. Because like you said, they're talking about hotels in and out of city limits and stuff, because this is the rule for the baseball game to be in Pawnee. And I don't know, I thought it was really interesting because Ben was like, it's a silly rule. And in my head, I was like, that's a parallel for the silly rule of Ben and Leslie not being together.
yeah, which Anne said in the cold open, that's a dumb rule. Is
Oh,
what she
yeah.
said.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And then we start our conversation about loving a hotel towel and soft towels and bath mats. And I thought, I don't know why, when I was watching this, I thought she said bathrobe at first, but then obviously it said towels, because I think I was projecting, because I love a good bathrobe. My mom does too. My mom actually has one from Dollywood that she got like 2 or 3 years ago, and she wears it all the time. It's so soft and floofy. It's nice.
Oh, I love soft things.
Me
I feel
too.
like this conversation too is a complete emulation of what we were saying earlier, where it was like, it doesn't matter that these topics are boring. It matters that they're like, why would anybody want to talk about this? Because now we're on a topic that like I wouldn't consider talking about towels exciting, but they're connecting on it.
Yes, exactly. Like, it's not sexy, but it's still like something that they agree on.
Yeah. and to your point, it's a personal experience.
Right. That's
right.
true.
And that's why John Hopkins was a good choice, because there's no personal experience. So I think that's it too, is like,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter that they're talking about towels. They both connect because they like soft things.
Yes, exactly. And then we have this cute moment of Ben getting an eyelash off Leslie, which like is so cute, but also dangerous because he's driving. But
I had that written. I was like, bro, like it was not harming her. Like it was not going to go in her eye. Like you could have focused on the road. But it is cute.
It's
and
such
make
a cute
wish.
moment.
I love that. Yeah.
I know. And then the moment is broken by the Mandarin speaking, and she's like, "Get off me!" And he's like, "Oh, okay, bye."
Also a great line. I'm allergic to fingers.
Yeah. I think I'm just gonna like not talk to you and just focus on the presentation. Oh,
Yeah.
it's so awkward.
It's
and
so
weird
awkward
and sad.
Yeah, I know. This Mandarin in the background, real weird, because this is a question I had and I couldn't find anything on it. I don't know if I just didn't look hard enough. I wanted to know if it was a legit recording or if they made it for the car, because it says that the topic is getting around town. And then they say, "Where are you going?" Which is chunar what they say. And it literally translates to "go where."
Okay.
And but then they say, "This is my brother, Joshua Didi." I'm like, that's different. Why were you talking about your brother when you're talking about getting around town? So now I'm like, I don't know if this is like an actual recording, because that's completely different topics. You would probably put that in like the family topic. So I don't know. The translation is 100% correct. However, like where I learned in Beijing, you would have said "Joshua the Didi" because the makes it possessive.
Okay.
But
okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't find anything in my research about like where they got this recording from or if they made it specifically for the show. But yeah, that would be interesting to know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
I mean, you never know. I'm in a unit of Duolingo right now for Spanish that's like talking about the weather, and I have yet to talk about the weather. So it could very well just be how they structure these things.
I was thinking that too. They have a lot of random stuff, I feel. So
Yeah. So
speaking of which, this is random. And I'm sorry about it. But so again, if you need to skip 15 seconds ahead, you can. But when I was learning Spanish in high school, when you would say like, "I am eating," you would have like an ando at the end. But where the ones that I'm doing now, it's just saying like, "comemos pan" means we are eating bread. And I was like, that's weird. Because that's not like how you're taught in high school.
that's weird. The ando, like where would that be?
Like
Comando?
comiendo or comando or however it's pronounced. And Spanish, like I talk to Spanish teachers now. Like one of my friends is a Spanish teacher, and she says that she's taught that before, especially Latin America. And I have a friend in San Diego who said he's heard that before, and he speaks Spanish. So I don't know. I guess,
but
it's
they
just
don't
like,
use it.
No, he uses it. Yeah, he uses it. But like he's just saying you don't have to.
Yeah,
because like directly translated, comemos pan just means we eat bread. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they're saying that like it's saying we're eating bread or they are eating bread. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like the
I don't know.
conjugation or something.
Yeah.
Huh.
But anyway,
Yeah.
so that's what I'm learning on Duolingo.
Yeah. I did not use comiendo. I didn't take any Spanish growing up because I took Mandarin. So this is all very new to me. So that's very interesting.
But like
That's
when
different.
you're speaking with Ivan or like his family and stuff, they don't use that?
I've never used comiendo with them.
Okay.
It sounds familiar,
or like any
like they could have
endos
used it, but
for INGs. Because that's
I'd
what
have
it
to
is.
think about it.
Like the ondo and endo is like INGs for words. But I mean, I guess now I know I don't have to. So whatever.
Yeah. It
Anyways.
I mean, they'll still know what you're saying. I would have to pay more attention to that.
Yeah.
Because most of the time they speak so fast, I'm just like picking out the words I know and then putting it together in my brain.
Oh my gosh. It is very fast. Ugh.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Well, there's a deleted scene here actually where they're playing Punch Buggy. Did you ever play that game or hear of it?
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
I had a
thought that was
brother.
so
Of course,
funny.
we played Punch Buggy.
But basically, Ben punches Leslie and says, like, Punch Buggy yellow. And Leslie's like, that's not fair. You're taller than me. You can see more things. And then they laugh and have this, like, moment where they're staring at each other because obviously that was, like, a weird thing for her to say.
Yeah.
But Leslie's like, and so they have this, like, chemistry, again, like the eyelash thing. And Leslie's like, no, stop. This is dangerous. Stop this. But I thought that was cute to bring back that kind of, like, timely thing of Punch Buggy.
It's a great road trip game too.
It's a great
Punch
road trip
buggies
game.
are not that common. So
Right.
that's why
I
it's
know
a good game.
Never see him now. So fascinating.
Hardly ever.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're actually at the presentation, and a lady comes out and says the delegation from Pawnee is up. This gal's name is J. Renee Pena, and she's been in SWAT, Scandal, Young Sheldon, Party of Five, a ton of things.
Wow.
She did a great job, and I have been talking to her manager, and so I hope that she can get us some information, and I'll add it in if she does.
Yeah, that's awesome. I noticed they're at there's like a sign, and I can't remember if it's right now or if it's like later when they're out, that says the Indiana Athletic Committee.
Oh.
And it looks like it's being held at a hotel or a conference center, kind of is what it looks like. And it looks rather large. And so I'm honestly like, I was kind of like, what else are they doing here? Is it just for the baseball, or like are there different committees for each sport that they're trying to figure out where they're going to hold all the stuff this year? Just because there's a lot of people there for that. And then later Ben says, when we're done here, I'm like, you just gave your presentation and you know that you got it. So why wouldn't you go now? But it made it seem like there's more events or something.
Yeah, something else going on maybe. Oh,
So,
yeah. Maybe it was like a whole conference situation, like a Comic-Con, but a athletic con.
Yeah. Which
Not
would be
really.
cool.
A government
but
con.
I mean, maybe if it was like some sort of like, these are the events we have going on this year type thing. I don't know. But I just thought it was interesting because in my head, it was always they were just going up there to give that presentation. And now, obviously, when I'm paying more attention to everything,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, that's a good observation. There is another guy on the committee who says he needs to bring up what happened last time when Pawnee held the event.
No, you don't.
No, you don't. That little clip is so funny with Purd and his 1980s hair reporting that the field was
so
overrun.
well done. Yeah.
Yes. And you show all the clip of the raccoons. I thought that was great.
Yeah, with the kids and everything. Yeah, the whatever film they used or the filter to make it look older was great.
Yeah.
And then I tried to like look at what the parents were wearing because there's a very short clip like where they show the stands, and I can't really tell from the angle and whatnot. But I knowing Parks and Rec, I feel like they did their best to make the clothes look older too.
Definitely. Well, actually, it's funny you said that because there's a whole deleted scene here where, first of all, I noticed, I don't know if you noticed, but in the top right corner, it says September 30th, 1989 was when they
I didn't notice that.
had that. So that was a good detail for them to have that on there. But there was a whole deleted scene here where Purd is actually interviewing Ron about what they can do about raccoon attacks. And I took a picture of it. I'll post it. Ron was wearing this kind of like 1980s, 1990s, like windbreaker-y type jacket thing. So they definitely tried to make it, of the time. And weirdly, I don't think this is why they cut it. I think it was just funnier to have like a tiny little segment or whatever. But weirdly, Perd was so like coherent and competent when he was asking questions to Ron. And I was like, this is out of character.
Yeah. Why is he making sense?
Right. Why is he making sense? Ron is basically like, it's your property. Like, you can take care of it. I have problems on my property all of the time. Like, whatever, you can deal with it since I deal with it. And then it's really funny, actually, because Perd actually says, after he's like kind of done interviewing Ron, he says to the camera, next up, a study on whether cigarettes are dangerous for your health. And Ron is smoking a cigarette and he's like, God, I hope so. I was like, what?
Oh my gosh.
So
I don't know, man.
I will post that picture of what he looked. Ron, it's funny. Ron, I feel like in every picture of the past, he looks exactly the same, except for maybe his clothes are different. They didn't do anything different with his hair.
Right. Well, because, that would look like somebody would do that. Look
Right.
like Ron in the 80s, too. So,
Yeah, he hasn't changed. That's what we know about him. The guy who brought up the raccoon problem on the committee is named John Sloman. He was in 6 episodes of Mad Men, if you watch that show. The Ugly Truth movie, Grey's Anatomy, Law and Order. Like, he's been in a bunch of things. And I've been talking to him as well about his time on the show. And he said he would be interested in sending us some voice memos. So I will definitely play those too.
yeah, 100%. That's awesome.
I got the job on Parks and Rec from a regular audition that my agent sent me on. It was in Dorian Frankel's little office, tucked into Hollywood there. And it was very nice to meet her for the first time. She was lovely. Well, it was wonderful to work with Amy Poehler and Adam Scott, for sure. I had always admired them both. Start with Adam, he's such a wonderful, versatile actor. And they always say that it's great for a TV actor to have a big head and a smaller body. And we had always laughed about how Adam Scott has this enormous head. I actually met him one time at a friend's house, and he has this enormous head, and it's so perfect for TV. I think it's one of the reasons why he pops so much on television. I mean, he's also a fantastic actor. And anyway, so it was wonderful working with him. But Amy, oh my God, Amy Poehler, I had admired her for so long. She had made me laugh so hard in my life. And there she was, and she entered the room. It was this beautiful old room in some historic building in L.A. And she entered the room. It was like the sun came out, And she came over to me. And she said, "Hi, my name's Amy." And she stuck out her hand. I said, "Oh, I'm John." And she said, over her shoulder to the crew and to everybody in the room, she said, "Oh, John has a great handshake. He came to play today. I like that. I like that handshake. John came to play." And it was the start of a great couple of hours. It didn't take long to shoot the scene. And, I loved working with my little co-star there at the table. She was great. And we got what I thought was going to be the final take. Everyone seemed pleased. And then they asked for another take, and I'm like, oh, I was surprised. Okay, going to do another take. And out of the gate, when they said action, Amy told like the punchline to a joke. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was something like, and the penguin said, "I'll have a scotch and soda." And I looked at her, and she looked at me, and I thought, oh my God. My thought bubble was, oh my God, am I going to get a chance to improv with Amy Poehler? Oh my God. And off we went. And we went on script and off script. And we covered all the material we needed to in the scene. And they yelled, they said cut. And I felt like I had been on this wonderful roller coaster ride with Amy Poehler. And it was, I've been in show business a long time, and it was definitely one of my top 5 experiences in all my time in the business. Thrilling.
That's awesome.
So this gal says that Muncie is bigger, Bloomington's more central, so what's the advantage of doing it in Pawnee? And this is such a special moment.
Yeah, it is a really special moment. I also wanted to point out Muncie is larger, and they give Jerry shit all the time that's where he wants to go.
Yeah.
You know?
I just think it's funny because, I don't know. For me, it would be like going to Memphis or something as opposed to like Paris or like,
oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, but
I feel like Jerry would pick that over like Italy anywhere.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, where it's funny because then what I picture is it's like us because Prescott's kind of tiny. It'd be us being like, we're going to go spend the weekend in Phoenix or Flagstaff.
Yeah.
And, which is more affordable than trying to go to like Chicago or something.
Right.
So that's how I pictured it.
Oh,
It was like,
interesting.
he is going to a bigger town. Like, I
Yeah.
always thought Muncie was tiny. And like, that's why they were making fun of him because he was going to like a smaller town that
has
nothing.
I think they're just making fun of him because he goes there on vacation all of the time. And
Very true.
And like he says that's his favorite place in the world, as
Okay.
opposed to like if you were
Fair.
to go to Phoenix for a weekend trip, it's like
It's not my
great,
favorite place in the world.
But
So,
yeah, I
yeah.
still obviously it's still stupid that they're making fun of him because Pawnee literally says, or Leslie says that Pawnee's literally better than Paris at one point. So
Yeah.
who's
Yeah.
really crazy?
I think more so it was like it was just eye opening for me because I always pictured Muncie being like tiny,
like a small little baby town.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. But also, sorry, the other piece of it was the 12. They have 12 baseball diamonds, which seems like a lot.
Who does? Pawnee does?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
For them
town.
not having a lot of money for the parks department.
Yeah.
But I do like that they have comfy seats for their larger than typical
Yes.
citizens.
I know. I love that line too. That's funny. I
Yeah.
know. And I wonder how, when you said 12, I totally forgot that detail. I wonder how usable all of them are.
Oh, very true.
I mean, I would assume that if they got the job, obviously, or got the thing, that they would have, renovations if they needed it or cleanup crews or whatever. But
Yeah, but they would probably get money from the league
that's
for
right.
holding it.
That's right.
I just don't know when you get that money.
Yeah.
I mean the draw to it. This is what I am equating it to is like the Olympics or the World Cup, right? You have to go and petition, which is cool because I never thought about you having to do that at this level, like at the Little League level. You have to go petition and then they vote and then they choose who's going to be there. And the big hype for you holding the Olympics in your country or the World Cup in your country is that you're bringing hundreds of thousands of people to come spend money in your country, basically, right? So I'm assuming hopefully the committee would provide some funding to the city to make it happen because you're not going to have thousands of people there, like maybe hundreds.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. That's what I would think. But people don't realize too, like when you live in the Midwest or like the East, like where there's a lot of snow and stuff, there's a lot more upkeep that you have to do with parks
true.
and whatnot, because the snow, like when it melts, it can create just a complete mud mess. And if people go
Totally.
out there and play on the field
Yeah.
when they're not supposed to, it just makes it worse. So yeah.
Yeah.
You're a very good point how much of them are usable.
Yeah. But that's cool that I forgot about that they would probably be given money too.
I hope so.
Yeah.
It's my hope for them.
Yes, same. But this is such a really moving speech, but all from Ben about Pawnee, but it's also such a great illustration of the arc that he has and his trajectory of since he first came here, because he's so passionate about Pawnee, and like it's just such a change because if you'll remember, back in the first episode, he very adamantly and very rudely and meanly says Pawnee is not special, and that's why we hated him at the beginning.
Yeah.
And that's something that we will never never forget. And now he's saying this town is special and there's no doubt about it. And I was just like, oh my God, it's just so lovely to see that. Like, I mean, obviously it's powerful as a viewer, but just like doing all the behind the scenes and like really getting into the nitty gritty of like each character's like trajectory and growth, I was like, oh my God, this is so lovely to see.
Yeah.
It's powerful.
Yeah, it's really powerful. I think he's made a full 180 on all of it.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
it's interesting too. Leslie's like not looking at him.
I know. I thought that was weird too. Not weird, but like very interesting.
I couldn't tell if it was like Amy Poehler didn't know if the camera was on her, if it was a very pointed choice of like, I don't want to look at him while he says this.
I'm going to say it's that.
Yeah, no. And I would say with what we know of Amy Poehler, it's probably more of an intentional choice. It was just interesting because it was like she was almost trying not to like what he was saying.
Well, and I think the camera zooms in on him too at the end or whatever, so that the story / the speech really does become about him and about like what he's saying and how he's grown because of Leslie. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So maybe it is. It's like this isn't about their connection and her loving that he's saying this. This is about him and his character. I like that. Yeah.
That's just how I felt with it. But yeah,
no, I can get on board with that 100%. Yeah. And I like it. Like, I feel like obviously when I was like a teenager, right? If I was watching shows, I was like, where's the romantic part of this? You know? I think more as I've been an adult, I think at least in my 20s, I kind of took a turn of like, okay, why does this romantic relationship need to be here? This is forced. Or I really appreciate moments like this where it's like, yes, there is a romantic relationship, but that's not the point.
Right.
So
right.
I appreciate
Absolutely.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, now we're back at Know Ya Boo. And again, Jerry and Donna are still crushing it. April and Andy are still just not connecting. Andy's being very childish and very like, petty about it. And I was just like, okay, we're just drawing on what we already talked about.
Yeah, there's different thoughts here. First of all the questions are going about Donna and April, and they're both of the ones we've heard have been sex related. So I don't know what this is doing. But the piece here is we're seeing, luckily, because this is a relationship that started and escalated very quickly.
Yeah.
With two of the youngest people in the staff. But we don't see them fight a lot, right?
Yeah, totally.
So I think it is kind of cool and it puts it in perspective. This is why I liked when they had Pam and Jim fight on The Office. Like, this is what a real relationship is. You don't just get married and have a soulmate and don't ever argue about things.
Right.
Like, that's not what real life is. So I like that piece of it. And I like the piece of it that it's a small thing. It's not an end the relationship thing, because I think when we watch dramas, a lot of times it's end the relationship things. And that's not what all fights in a marriage are either.
Yeah.
So I think I really like that piece of it. But then there's this piece where you can see how young they are in it, because Andy's taking it really personally and April is not communicating. She's communicating that this band is important to her, right? But I don't think they're meeting in the middle and having like a, I appreciate you and I of course love your band, but I also don't like, and I know I'm getting a little ahead of myself here. I don't necessarily like, although I kind of get it, that April's the one that feels like she has to fix it.
That's exactly how I felt. That is exactly how I felt. I was like, why is April the only one that's apologizing?
Yeah.
Like, Andy didn't say sorry or like have any sort of remorse. Like, he gets over it because he's like, he accepts it and he's like, okay. But I mean, I guess it's more of like he was so hurt that he didn't know what he was like,
I think
that
he
had to say sorry kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't
hurt.
like that either.
Yeah. I think he was so hurt, like you're saying, is blinded to the fact that he had also hurt April.
Yeah.
And that's what I didn't like about the conclusion of their storyline here. Is April feels like she has to fix it. So she does what she has to do. And she goes to great lengths, we see.
Totally.
She does something you never would think April would do.
Yeah.
On a couple different counts. But there's no resolution at the end that's like, this is me showing you that I love you and I support you, but you also need to love and support me.
Yeah.
You know? So,
Which I think
don't
that's
know.
what that last line was trying to do when he says, you know, she might not think that I'm the best rock star ever or whatever, but she loves me and I love her. Like, I think that was what that line was trying to do as far as like explaining that, you know, we accept each other the way that we are, even though we don't always love like exactly the same things kind of thing. But yeah, I felt the same way. I was like, I don't hear any like, you know, remorse or anything from Andy. I guess it's just more of an acceptance thing on his end.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how I felt too. But and I mean, I guess to your point too, as far as like showing that they do fight. They at this point, they've been together for like 6 months, like total kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, you know, so I feel like it was nice for them to show like an actual disagreement because they have fought and stuff before, but I feel like the fighting was more about like, do you like me? I like you. Like more of that.
Yeah, the
kinda
beginning
nonsense.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So this
Again,
is like
communication issues.
Right.
Just putting that out there.
Yes, agreed. Anyway, okay. So we'll probably talk more about it when we get to that scene. But anyway, now Ron is back talking with Lauren Burkus, if you are.
Yes, I just wanted to say, while all this is happening, Tom still has sound effects going on in the background.
Oh yeah,
like
I
boos
love that.
and stuff like that, and which is it's kind of cool,
applause
but
and-
also like, bro.
Yeah, I love that he has like this app or whatever on his phone. That's awesome.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that was my last note for that. So I'm ready to go back to Ron.
Okay. Yeah, I love that too. So Ron's explaining how taxes work by eating a portion of Lauren's lunch, and this is the metaphor that he picked out. That is a huge bite for Ron. I feel
Yes.
that was so big.
I love this idea. I think this is a great way to demonstrate what it feels to pay taxes. So this is how it feels to me.
Yeah.
And kids can't rationalize money the same way we can. So doing it with her lunch. But, dude, this is not your kid.
Yeah. I think a more accurate thing would be potentially giving her a newer, nicer lunchbox to like show that those taxes go towards bridges and roads and cars and, you know, structure.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Ron doesn't see that because it's not the government's job to do that in his head.
Yeah. In his head. Yeah. And I think that's, I appreciate what he's doing.
Yeah.
But I think there was a less intrusive way to do it.
Right. Well, and obviously it's Ron, so it's biased. It's not like factual. I mean, I guess it's like based in what actually happens, but it's like, you know, it's based on opinion for how he
like
sees
like
this.
what you're saying. You're saying is like, he's not showing what happens out of the taxes.
Right.
You know? So
Lordy. Did you notice that the juice box is from Sweetums?
I did not.
Oh my God, they
Nice
put Sweetums
nice
on
catch.
everything. I
Yeah.
thought that was so
Well
cute.
done.
Oh,
Yeah.
so great. I never noticed
good.
it before this.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm at where Ben and Leslie are cheersing, if you are.
Yes.
And I love that Leslie's having this honest moment because usually I feel like she is very, you know, like I did do it kind of thing. But I love that line of like, yeah, I usually do it, but this time you did it. And I love that.
It's different because other times when she's told that she did it, she'll be like, oh no, but you did so much too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And this time there's that genuine, no, you're right. I usually do it.
Yeah.
But this was not me. And I think that's what the difference is because even in the last episode when we were doing the coffee maker thing, like, you know, she's not blaming anyone or taking, you know, taking full out responsibility. It's, you know, just that
She's like,
very
I'll just handle it.
kind. Yeah. Yeah. And I think this is just in your face. Like I accept that I do most of the stuff. And I think that's what makes the compliment to Ben.
Yeah.
I
love
more
that
special.
acting from her too. It was so nice.
Oh, very well done. Yeah.
And then we have the photographer coming over to take a picture, and Leslie's so awkward because Ben asks if they should go eat because he got a recommendation from Chris, and then Leslie's asking the photographer dude, like, hey, you want to get dinner with us, photographer person? Well, you missed out. They have great burgers there.
do you How do you don't even know where we're going?
Well, I'm sure they have great burgers.
That was the best thing you could choose that probably every place has.
True.
So, you notice the photographer like looking off into space and like walking away like this is so fucking awkward.
Totally. I loved that moment.
That was really
my
good.
God. He was just like genuinely confused and awkward.
And I feel like I honestly, it's funny because this is the first time I really looked at it and noticed like, I don't think Leslie's that upset that the photographer couldn't go.
Oh,
like she literally says, well, I tried.
But it's almost so defeated to me. But yeah. Yeah, it's both.
It's the first time though that I was like, it's not necessarily completely like I feel devastated that I have to do this and go to dinner with Ben. It's more like, it was like a well, I tried type thing. I can get the side that you're saying, but this is the first time I've kind of looked deeper into it, being like, maybe she just wanted to show that she had
like
put
tried
effort in.
I like Ben's awkward laugh too. Like after they take, I don't know if you noticed, it was very fast. Like after they take the picture, he was like, it's like, oh my God.
That's perfect.
This photographer is played by Todd Berger. He was on a bunch of things as an actor, but he's also a really big writer and director, which is really cool.
Oh, cool.
He wrote The Happy Time Murders, which stars Melissa McCarthy and Elizabeth Banks. It's like a Muppet type situation.
Okay.
Yeah, and he wrote a bunch of Smurfs movies, the second Kung Fu Panda. Like, he's done a lot.
Cute.
So I thought that was really cool. And
really
I didn't
cool.
really see a bunch of stuff that I was familiar with as far as like what he's acted in, but he's a huge writer and director. So good job,
That's
Todd
cool.
Berger.
Nice.
Then we are back at the office, and Ron is saying that FDR ruined the country. And then this is when her teacher comes and collects her and is like, okay, ready to go. And this teacher's name is Donna Silverberg. She was in Scary Movie 2, Cheaper by the Dozen, House. The last thing she did on IMDb was this episode of Parks. So I'm not sure what she's up to now. So I don't know.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I really love that Ron says to Lauren that she's much smarter than most of the people who work at City Hall.
Yeah.
That's cute.
Yeah. I don't want to, I was going to make comments about it that like, I can feel that sometimes.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think a lot of people think that too.
Yeah. I also love that like Ron is probably the least likely in the office, maybe next to Donna, that you're like, that person would maybe not be good with kids.
Right.
And he's taken to her. He took the bull by the horns, and like he had like it seems like it was a positive interaction. Even though, I mean, he might not have shared the best of things. It was a positive interaction for him, and we got to see this side of Ron that I don't think we've ever really gotten to see before.
Yeah, I totally agree. And now that you say that, I don't know who would be good besides Leslie to talk to her about government.
No, I specifically about government. I don't know. I can see Jerry being good with kids.
Oh yeah,
though.
with kids. Yeah.
I was thinking more about with kids.
Yeah, that's
like
fair.
who would be good with kids. Tom is like a child himself, so I think he would do well with kids.
Yeah.
April maybe not.
Yeah, I know. That'd be interesting.
Andy would be great with kids.
Yeah, totally.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Well, then he makes a step further of maybe inappropriate actions when he gives her the landmine to protect her property. Best of intentions, but no. In my research, I found that it's actually a claymore mine, and there's a difference between a claymore mine and a landmine, and I did not know that.
Huh.
Claymore mines can be detonated. Claymore mines can be detonated with a remote or with like a tripwire, but landmines, you just step on them and they explode. So I thought that was really fascinating to me.
Yeah. Huh.
So
very fascinating.
Anywho.
Sorry, this is such a side note, but I thought it was fascinating when I was there. In Prague, there's a communism museum.
Oh, wow.
For when is that what you would call it? I mean, sure. The when it was like Czechoslovakia before they got to be their own countries again, and they had the Iron Wall and all that kind of stuff, right? More Soviet Union guards died on the Iron Wall than people trying to escape because they would step on the landmines on accident.
Oh, wow. Yikes.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
Yeah.
So many tools of war.
Yes. But yeah, that's fascinating that he says Claymore landmine.
Yeah. Yeah. So now we're at April and Tom talking, where April tells Tom that her and Andy got in a big fight because of this game, and that Andy sold his guitar to Sewage Joe, and he's quitting music to, like, you know, make up. And so basically he wants her to or she wants him to make another version of the game. But I wanted to tell you, there is a deleted scene here where they actually have footage of Sewage Joe buying the guitar, and like he asks how much Andy wants for it, and Andy's like, you can't put a price on a man's soul, and he sells it for $40.
$40?
That is a nice ass guitar. I'm pretty sure it's a Taylor. Like,
you can't
God.
You can't even buy a beginner guitar at this point for $40.
No, and Sewage Joe can't even play it. Like, he just like randomly strums, and it's awful. And I was like, oh,
Jeez. God. Oh, and this is so impulsive of Andy.
Yeah, it's
very impulsive.
Like, he's just so spirally for this, I guess. And so, I mean, maybe that's where the writers were going with this when they had April like make amends, but it's so weird.
Yeah.
So
no, it's very weird.
But Andy, I think it's really funny that Andy takes it so seriously when Tom, like on the new game, when Tom asks who makes the best mac and cheese in the universe. That is so cute.
Yeah, I said he's very genuine in his responses.
Mm-hmm. It's like the universe. And
I love it.
Yeah, so basically all the questions are about Andy. Like, Andy's the answer to all of them. And I thought it was really interesting that Andy, like, knows he's being tricked. Like, I wouldn't have thought that he would be coherent enough to know that.
I think he's so mad. Mm-hmm. Usually he's deliriously happy, right?
Yeah,
so stuff just goes over his head. But I think he's just so upset.
Yeah.
You know, when I'm mad or upset, it doesn't happen super often. But if I'm in that mood, like, more stuff pisses me off.
Yeah, that's
you know?
true.
Like,
that's
if you're already having a bad day. So, like, I feel like he's just more easily pissed off. And I think that's why he's able to catch it. I think typical Andy would not have caught it.
Right.
And he has that moment where he laughs, which I think is great.
I know, I do too. He laughs,
like, so excited.
Realizes it's wrong.
Yeah. So I thought that was great. So I also caught that Tom, when April comes in, he's downloading a new Tommy Hilfiger iPhone app, and he's like, finally.
Oh, that's right. Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it made me think it's probably just like an app where you can maybe buy the clothes.
Right.
Would be my thought.
Yeah. I know Nike has an app too, where like you take it into the store and you get like discounts, and you can probably buy clothes and stuff.
That could be what it is too. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Makes sense. Tommy Hilfiger is Tom's thing.
Yep.
Now I'm at where Leslie and Ben are at dinner, if you are.
Yeah.
I thought this restaurant looks really cool.
Really nice, yeah.
Really nice and fancy. They're laughing, having a moment. They have a whole bottle of wine. I think that is dangerous, number one. But number two is very fancy, because every time I've ordered a whole bottle of wine somewhere, I've always been like, oh man, we are like living the life.
We're legit. Yeah, legit adults here.
All right.
Yeah.
But
no, yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah.
On a work dinner.
Well, yeah, and especially when they don't want to have like a moment. But I guess with two people, it depends. Like, if you're going to have 2 glasses each, that's 4 glasses. Like, you might as well get a bottle if it's cheaper, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, fair.
So anyway, I love that Ben finally starts talking about this.
Well, and it's so cute that he's talking about like the town, so that because I think he's kind of realized, like, I'm not going to get. She doesn't want to talk about this.
Yeah.
So if I can not blatantly come out and just say I like you, I can do this run around of like the town.
Right.
He's talking about the town, but he's really talking about Leslie.
Yes. The town has really nice blonde hair.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was so cute. And he has this moment, I thought, where with his facial expression where he's almost kind of scared when he says, it's not just me, right? And he's like, oh God, maybe it is me. At least, like, I don't know. His facial expression looked kind of nervous at first.
But I relate with this so hard, and I feel like even if you feel like you're getting signs from someone,
sure,
I need to hear it. Like, I can't just be like, oh, well, he touched my arm there and he said this cute thing there. That obviously means, like, no, I need a straight up, like, so I can understand that insecurity.
Oh,
like,
for sure.
I feel like I'm getting vibes, but like, I need you to tell me, you know?
Yeah, I loved that acting with him because he didn't really do much with it. It was just in his eyes, and I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
And then Leslie obviously, gives him that positive reinforcement and says, no, it's not just you. And she freaks out. And this is where she's just like, oh, God, what am I going to do? I just feel like she's so devastated and like, freaked out.
Especially now that it's all out on the table. I think when it was unspoken, it was still like a
Now it's real.
Yeah, now it's real. Now it's out there. Now they have to make a decision. You know,
So she's going to go to the Wiz Palace. She's not going to call Anne.
visit the porcelain. Yep,
Right.
definitely not calling Anne.
And not doing cocaine. Anyway.
Yeah, we have a code Ben. It's not really code if you use his name.
I know. I love
that.
that. I like that she says, I'm going to go make out with him on his face.
Yes, it's so good.
I love that
this is
whole
great.
scene too. That whole like moment of Anne reading it and then Leslie kind of reciting the same words back to her is really cute because obviously Leslie wrote it. And I love
Yeah.
that line of, I've had 2.5 glasses of red wine. And what that means is I'm going to go make out with him right now and it's going to be awesome.
Yes, I
And
love
it's
it.
very cute when Anne is saying like, yay. It's very precious.
Yeah, no, Anne, you're not supposed to agree with me. No, don't stop. I'm going to do it anyway. Yay!
Shut up, Anne. Love that.
I think like Leslie, and I don't know, I kind of was trying to put myself in her shoes, right? Like, because she had already made the decision she was going to do something.
Yeah. Oh,
right?
totally.
But having the voice of reason there, I feel like was solidification for her that it was worth doing it.
Yeah,
Like if
totally.
Anne was just straight up agreeing with her, I think she would have. That's why she didn't need Anne to agree with her. I think she needed
Right.
Anne to be that no,
Right.
like you can't, for her heart to be like, but I
I'll do it
wanted
anyway.
enough.
And
Yeah.
it's really funny because it's basically she's fighting with herself. Anne's just reading
Yeah,
the words,
100%. Anne is like
which is
so
what
on the
we
side
all
of
go
Leslie.
through.
Ben.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Totally.
yeah.
I love this blocking here and the camera work here when she goes back to the table and the waiter is blocking the other chair so we don't know that Chris is sitting there until the reveal. Oh,
Yeah.
love that.
Oh yeah, it's really great, and your heart just goes.
It just drops. Chris is such a
Down.
boner killer. Ugh.
It really is. Yeah.
This reminded me actually of Elliot on Scrubs. They have a whole like moment killer thing for her because like JD and all his like whatever women that he's trying to take back, like Elliot will just randomly enter the room and it'll say like moment killer underneath. It's so funny.
Oh, that's awesome.
There were so many bloopers here. Rob Lowe could not get through all of his lines. I couldn't find it because I think when I was reviewing this, I didn't have the DVDs with me, but I just remember seeing them. So if I find them on the next episode, I'll definitely play them. But Rob Lowe was just like not with it at this point. I thought it was really funny.
Dang.
And then he suggests taking a long walk or going for mini golf, which usually I love the idea of, but not now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And they just want to go back to Pawnee. They're like, we hit the climax of this evening and we're not resolving this now. We just want to go home.
Right.
But Chris is, kind of forcing the issue to stay with him in Indianapolis, which I forgot not that I forgot as a viewer, but in the storyline, I'm like, why do you need this place in Indianapolis?
I know. I was wondering that too.
So
I don't know.
interesting.
Yeah, basically, he's like, there's no reason to go all the way back to Pawnee tonight. Like, stay with me. And just a friendly reminder, we talked about this when, in that episode when Leslie was trying to find out who Chris was cheating on Anne with, quote unquote, that area or that house apartment thing was somewhere in Hollywood and the condo or whatever. And it was like super hot apparently when they were filming it. So they were really sweaty. So
In this
Just a-
episode?
like
Oh,
at
wow.
the house or whatever.
They're
but
like
also-
in jackets and stuff too.
I know, it sucks. And like suit jackets and stuff. Yeah, totally. I noticed that their plates are full of food, which means they have like a whole meal to get through basically with this weird awkwardness. I thought that
And
was
they've
funny.
already been through 2.5 glasses of wine with no food.
I mean,
Oy.
I feel like they've been eating like slowly, but yeah.
Hopefully, yeah. Dang.
Oh god. Now we're at Chris's condo. Ben is wearing Chris's clothes. Like, are those supposed to be sleep clothes? Because I feel like they're not.
Oh, that's a workout shirt.
Why is that a thing? Why
Yeah.
isn't he in Chris's pajamas?
Well, and I don't know if this is just a good like Leslie thing, but she doesn't say that she's wearing Chris's clothes.
Right.
So she must have packed her own clothes, but they didn't
maybe.
plan on staying overnight. But I can see that being a Leslie thing. That's like, I'm going to a different city,
Yeah,
like just in
that's
case
true. I
I'm going to
didn't
have
think
a
of that.
change of clothes.
Yeah, that's totally Leslie.
Yeah.
And then they get kind of close on the couch again, but Chris is again the boner moment killer, talking about how much he pees because of how hydrated he is. Why is his bladder so small? 12 times? That sucks.
How do you ever
The
get
size
enough
of
sleep?
a thimble? What?
He's so
I know it's the line,
exaggeratory.
but is that a word?
Exaggeratory? It is now. It's my word now.
Okay, I like it. I did
Kinda
look up
wanna know
if
if it's
radish
real.
juice works best, like to lessen inflammation, and it does. It says that it lessens inflammation and alleviates burning sensations when associated with urinary tract disorders. So, yeah. Apparently, it's also effective in flushing out excess toxins that build up in the system, and it prevents infections in the kidney. So this is real.
PSA.
Yep. The toilet flushing while they're having their moment is a really good detail. Super fun.
It is. Oh, yeah. It's great. And it gives you a little warning. Hey, Chris is coming back.
Exactly. Oh, my God.
They're watching the NASA channel.
Oh, are they? That's funny.
Yeah. I tried to figure it out because there's one very clear clip where you can see like a needle and like it looks like some sort of cartridge being put somewhere else. I was like, what the fuck? And then the next time you see the TV, there's a NASA emblem on the top. Oh. So I was like, oh, okay.
Okay. Maybe it was like free royalty TV. I don't know.
Yeah. Who knows?
So then Chris asks Ben if now that he's up, like, do they want to boggle? And I was like, oh my God. I had to look up what boggle was. I didn't know what it was.
It's a game. I don't think I've ever played it though.
Yeah, it's a word game. It reminds me of like Scrabble, but it's like on this like Rubik's Cube looking thing, and you like flip the letters. But anyway. Yeah, weird. And also like it's late. Like, no, I don't want to boggle with you.
Yeah. Go back to bed, man.
God. Anyway. So now we are at Lauren Burkus' mom coming in, if you are.
Love it. Yes.
Love it so much. This is our Jessica St. Clair that I talked about at the beginning. We see her yelling at Ron Swanson for giving her daughter a grenade and eating her lunch. In my message, I told her I could totally see her doing this in real life because she talks about her daughter on the podcast. So I thought that was funny.
That's cool.
Ron's really proud of Lauren because her mom shows her the report that she wrote and saying, why is government important? And she wrote, it doesn't.
It doesn't. Yeah. Which is in line with what Ron was teaching her.
She did take the assignment from Ron.
She understood the assignment. Ron did not.
Right. I do love when she cuts him off, when Lauren's mom cuts him off because he says it seemed appropriate at the time. And she's like, how?
It was really good timing.
So good. I loved that acting there.
Really well done. Yeah. I love this. Fourth graders are supposed to do cute reports and get gold stars.
Yes. I love that too.
Yeah. Which is nice because I don't know about how everybody else grew up, but I grew up in an environment where everybody was supposed to be getting good grades and doing all the good things all the time.
Perfect all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. And the fact that we just have this mom who's like, I just want her report to be cute and for her to get a gold star. Like, this is like, that's what is supposed to be expected of fourth graders. So,
yeah,
100%. I like it.
Well, now I'm at where April is going to Anne's house, which is very out of character for her. And I love that line of like, this is my house, right?
Yeah.
That Anne says.
Yeah. I think it just shows how important this is to April. But
Absolutely.
This is one of the moments where I was like, she really shouldn't have to be doing this.
I know.
They should be able to sit down and have a conversation about it.
But to be fair, I suppose, I don't know. I just wonder, I don't even think Andy would be able to say it the way that Anne does. You know what I mean? Like Anne is making that good point about like, it's not about like, being right. It's about being supportive. And Andy just wants to know that you like support him in his music kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Which is true. I think she did need Anne's advice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know if talking to Andy.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't know if talking to Andy would have really done much.
Yeah. And it's tricky because April, I feel, is definitely she's obviously the more like in touch with reality one, but like I see a lot of growth in this episode for her because she even says sorry to Anne when she's mean to her and says like, oh, I didn't realize you were a marriage counselor. And then she says sorry. And I was like, oh, she never would have done that,
My instinct is to be mean to you.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think she's realizing like, hey, this person that I've always been kind of a bitch to, let me into her house, and she is giving me solid advice.
Yeah.
She's not trying to sabotage anything. She's
Right.
being a genuine person. Like,
Yeah.
I see maturity in April here. And I think that's one of those things in this relationship where I think we see a lot of maturity for April. And I don't feel like Andy's pushed to that in this
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah.
At least in this episode. I think
Yeah,
he does mature as we go in the series, but I think April is challenged to grow, and I don't think we see that with Andy in this situation.
100%. Well, now Chris is riding back with Leslie and Ben, and I don't understand this. Like, did he not drive up there? Did he leave his car at his house? Like,
I
what?
have that note. exactly.
What is
How
the
did Chris end up
continuity?
on the way back with them? Yeah. Bad continuity, and that's the continuity error because he drove up there, and he's going to need his car down there. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But it makes sense to the story, but not.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing I could see is like if somebody else drove him up there and like dropped him off or something. But which like I guess in a very stretched world that could happen. But it's just it was an oops moment, I think.
Agreed. Yeah.
But he did say that he read the History of the Ladder article too.
Yeah. He's
crazy.
doing a great job. He's keeping that cock block right up.
Yeah, and he thinks
And then
all
he's
of
into
these
the
things-
banjo.
Oh my gosh, yes, he's into the banjo. I feel like he's thinking all these things are kind of like sexy, exciting topics.
I don't think there's anything that Chris wouldn't talk to you about.
Yeah, oh, that's true. That's real.
So I think that's the point is like, Ben's like, why the fuck are we talking about the ladder? And Chris is like, let's talk about the ladder.
Right. I wanted to share with you this this blooper when they were doing the when they were doing the banjo thing. Oh my gosh, hang on.
Hungry.
Yeah, I just thought it was really funny because so he's making all those noises and it's kind of low, but you can hear Adam Scott say like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
2 times.
I heard that. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
So now Andy's at the shoe shine stand. If you are,
Yeah.
he hears that song, The Pit, playing. And this is like so special and sweet. I know we have our qualms with like her being the only one that made amends, but it is such a special moment. And Andy is so into it. The whole band is there. Mouse Rat is in the courtyard, and April set it up so that he would hear it. She got the guitar back by stealing it. And also, I think April's voice is good. I like April's voice.
Yeah.
Aubrey Plaza's voice, I should say.
Yeah.
Like even when she sings the Time After Time, I'm like, you have a good
Yeah.
voice.
Yeah. I like it. It's such a sweet way to get to his heart too.
Yeah, 100%.
Because I feel like as a musician, when you write music, one of the greatest honors is when people sing your
Yeah.
songs
Yeah.
and they know the words, you know? So I think she really hit the nail on the head here with this for me. The question I have is, everyone from Mouse Rat just left work
I guess.
to come do this.
Yeah.
She's like, I
that's so
need help
funny.
with Andy. And they're all like, okay.
All right.
So
I know. I thought Burley looked so happy. Alan Yang looked so young to me. Like he looked like such a little baby in this episode. I thought that was funny.
that's funny. It looks like Aubrey's playing the guitar. She has her
Yeah.
fingers set right, for chords.
Yeah.
But the strumming doesn't add up to me.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I couldn't tell. Like maybe she was just informed of how to hold it properly,
Right,
but then
yeah.
wasn't playing, you know? So,
Yeah. I don't feel like she was playing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. And then this is the part where Andy's like, April, doesn't think that we're the greatest band in the world, but man, she loves me and I love her, which is very precious.
It is very precious. And they're totally going to do it later.
Yeah, this is my wife. Mark Rivers is there playing the drums. He's the one that wrote all the songs for Mouse Rat, so that is
Beautiful.
him.
Yeah.
And then I really like these extras, like these city hall workers that are so into it. Like, no, I just thought it was funny that no one's getting mad at them for being loud in the courtyard in the middle of a work day. Like,
yeah.
I mean, maybe it was almost after work or something, but everyone's just like having a good time and thinks it's really fun. I'm sure it's really exciting for them in this government building that maybe not that much excitement happens. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
So there's my question now that you've said that. What time of the day is it? Because we went to Indianapolis for a day and now they're on the way back the next morning. Mm-hmm. Has it been the same length of time for the people at the Parks Department? Because it's hard to also imagine Andy and April going home together and like, how did they handle that? You know?
Yeah. Interesting.
So I don't know. It could just be one day for them. And
I feel like the games were all one day, and then the next day was the her stealing the guitar back and everything.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm down with it.
Anyway, so now we get to our all caps, oh my God moment when Leslie has this talking head at the beginning that says, it's just not worth it. I love my job. Ben loves his job. It's just not worth the risk. And you can totally see from the outside perspective, at least for me anyway, I was like, baby girl, you are lying to yourself. You're just lying to yourself. That's it.
She's trying to be okay with it.
She has to justify it for herself to make this okay. Yeah. And I'm just like, oh, God. And because it is worth it. It's totally worth the risk. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, but obviously you don't know that because it's on the other side. Like, it's the unknown. You don't know what's going to happen. So she goes to Ben's office to drop off the receipts. And then this magical moment happens because Chris isn't around. And you're right. There's no buffer. So he just grabs her and magical and they kiss and I can't handle it. And I just love that. Uh-oh.
Yeah, I love it. And I love this from Ben because if we are putting Ben and Leslie together next to each other and you pick who's the more confident one, I'm going to go Leslie every time. Mm-hmm. So the fact that Ben walks in there and is like, fuck it, and just grabs her, I'm like, oh man.
I know.
It makes it that much more precious,
Yeah, that is special, I think, to kind of have the, because she is so, like we just talked about, like kind of blinded, like, this is my job. I can't do it. Mm-hmm. So she kind of needs someone to be like, hey, listen.
Yeah.
I like that too.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I don't know if Leslie would have ever done anything about it. I think eventually she might have, like way later down the line, but it definitely wouldn't have moved this quickly if it wasn't for Ben just being like, I have to do something.
It would have been a lot of talking.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's true.
I don't think she would have made the physical step without Ben.
Yeah. That might, I don't know if that might be my favorite line. Literally just the uh-oh. I just thought it was so funny and cute and like so loaded in that little thing.
Yeah. Ugh. So well delivered too.
Yes. Okay, so now we're at the tag. It's very precious. Lauren Burkus comes back to talk to Ron, and Ron is like, okay, you're young. Just do what's appropriate. And then when you're old enough, you can basically be like me and drink and gamble and do all the things.
The drinking age is 21.
Another bad thing about the country.
Yeah.
But it is like you were talking about, I wrote that in my notes here, where it is weirdly kind of a cute moment between Ron and this kid. Like, I really enjoyed the interaction that they had, and he's asking her to autograph the paper so that he can remember that, if you will. So I really liked this. I felt like it was such an interesting, like, creative way for Ron to be a part of the story, because I don't know if he would have been involved in any of the other storylines that we were going along with. So I really liked this this little C story, if you will.
Yeah, I did too. I my last note for the episode is, "Oh, Ronald, you softy."
I know he is, and I love that. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I don't think about it when I'm watching, or I didn't think about it when I'm watching the show, but now, I mean, it's nice to see this moment versus when he's going to eventually have kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, and I think that's exactly what I was thinking about here too, is it makes it much more realistic for us as the viewer when Diane comes into the picture that you're like, yeah, he'll totally hang out with them because we saw earlier that he can.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Yay. Yeah. Well, that was Road Trip. We did it.
Road Trip. Yeah.
Woo.
Great times.
Well, we only have
starting
like,
on the
2 more episodes? What?
Is it really? Only 2 more?
Yeah, this season only had like 14 or 15 episodes for some reason. I think it's because, like we talked about, it started late. They started filming late. And so that's why they had to squeeze everything in, and they didn't have enough. But then they still were like late, so, But yeah, we have Lil Sebastian coming up in like 2 or 3 episodes or something. So it's going to be crazy. Hopefully we'll be able to
You're
get
right.
some people on.
That's the that'd be great. That's the finale. Yeah, so the bubble we have next week.
Yep.
Craziness. We've started the Ben Leslie gist.
I know. Finally, my God.
Yeah. That took forever, it feels like.
Oh my God, it really did, especially with us analyzing it. Oh my God, I can't wait for the the Ruth Bader Ginsburg, like, when she's impersonating people in their sexy moments and accidentally butt dials her on. Oh my God.
Good
so
times.
good. Awesome, you guys. Okay, well, don't forget to rate and review. And I haven't really asked this, but I would love for you guys to like share the episode with someone who you think would enjoy it, because it would be really fun to just spread the love of Parks and Rec. And then, people were very active again on the Instagram about the favorite talking head, which was really interesting and cool for me to see. So please stay engaged and keep doing that, because it really helps me feel motivated. And then, VIPP, I think for this one goes to Ben, because he really lit a fire under his ass and was just like, fuck it, I'm doing it.
Yeah, he took it.
So I'm really glad about
that. He took it.
Yeah.
I'm totally
got
with
Pawnee
that.
to be... Yeah. And he got Pawnee to be the Indiana Little League Association, whatever the hell place. So that also is a big win.
Huge.
So
yeah, I love it. Also, side note, if you have not watched the most recent SNL, Aubrey Plaza does host, and there's little visitation from Amy Poehler in 2 little sections. Aubrey Plaza actually redoes her role as April Ludgate on Weekend Update, and we have a little Leslie Note moment. So if you can find just Weekend Update by itself if that's all you want to watch, but I think she's a joy, and I really enjoyed her. They let her do her old-timey Janet Snakehole voice for one of the sketches, so it's a good one.
Yeah, I thought Leslie like hadn't changed a bit. I feel like I don't know. She went back into that role so easily.
Oh yeah, but when you play it for like 7 years, and I feel like there's so much of Amy Poehler in her.
Absolutely. Well, that's the reason I say that is because I feel like Aubrey has grown so much from being April. She didn't fall right back into that role, but Leslie did.
Yeah,
or in my opinion, obviously, she did great, and it was funny, I thought. But anyway.
Yeah.
But okay, well, let us know if you have any questions or would like to do anything else. But for now, we will see you next time for The Bubble, and we hope you have a wonderful week.
Bye, guys.
There's a park and some pals, and there's also therapy too.